Tell us what's caught your eye ahead of Chelsea against Arsenal.
I think, first of all, we know the attacking capabilities that both teams have got. I'd like to just concentrate on the defensive side of things. Obviously, we look at Arsenal going to Liverpool and the result that they had there, the amount of goals they conceded and the manner in which they conceded them as well. So we will get onto them in a minute. But I think, first of all, I want to look at Chelsea, the way that they do things. If we just really look at I'd probably say the back 6/7. So if we take these players out of the way, what you find is, because these two sit, we know that Alonso and Moses in particular, they are the ones that are going to give the width going forward. Now, where these two are key, if you talk about a number 10 from the opposition, because most teams now play with a number 10, they want to get into these areas. But with Bakayoko and Kante, with them two in particular, staying in this area, because they play close to the three centre-backs, it means that if, for example, Lacazette, for example, say if he wants to drop off, if he goes there, all of a sudden, David Luiz, he doesn't have to go in there and leave space in behind. He can stay where he is, safe in the knowledge that Kante, Bakayoko, one of them will pick him up. So it's not a problem. But where it also becomes key as well, when you play with a back three, your two wide players, they have to be comfortable in going into the wide areas. So what you need to be comfortable in the knowledge of is that Azpilicueta, he can go there. We've seen him play right back on numerous occasions. So he can go there because he needs to cover the opposition wide man. So say you've got, say he's coming forward, say he's got on the wrong side of Moses and the other way. Say Bellerin's done the same with Alonso. Likewise, on this side as well, with Rudiger, he's going to have to go out there.
Or Cahill, it could be this.
Or Cahill, whoever it's going to be, yeah. Obviously, we know we're not too sure what the team's going to be. So all of a sudden, if you're looking at that, all of a sudden, David Luiz now, he can become very isolated. But this is where Bakayoko and Kante come into it as well. Because they're playing so deep, because they're playing so close to the back three, there's not an issue. Because one of them, whether it be this side, Bakayoko, or this side, Kante, they're very comfortable in saying, right, OK, you know what? We'll go into these positions if our centre-backs have been dragged out. But it's a knock-on effect. They are so drilled in the way that they play, because then all of a sudden, Alonso's thinking, OK, well, the wide areas are covered. All of a sudden, Alonso can come in here. Moses, if needs be, can come in there. So all of a sudden, you've got that shape that you needed anyway. So at times, you know, I know there's 7 of them there, but more often than not, when Chelsea are attacking, we'll show in a second, they attack with a 5 and they defend with a 5. When we talk about Chelsea being very strict, being very disciplined in the way that they do it, like I say, let's bring these players out of the way. Because we just want to talk about the defensive side of things again. Wing-backs, they do play very high. Kolasinac, and then you've got your two defensive midfielders. So if we just take it to, say, here, for example. Right, so you've got Morata, Pedro, Fabregas. You bring your back three up here. Now, the problem that Arsenal have, in my opinion, these two very good players, but there's a lack of connection between the three and the defensive two. So as we talked about Bakayoko and Kante, the space in between the centre-backs and your defensive midfielders isn't that big. This is huge. It's absolutely massive. That's where a number 10, a Fabregas or a Pedro, they can drop in there, whoever it may be, and they can dictate play. The problem then first problem, centre-backs get dragged in there, centre-backs get dragged in there. Your wing-backs, we know how high they play up for Arsenal. All of a sudden, look at the amount of space in behind. The amount of space in behind. And more often than not, the forward-thinking players, especially in the front three, obviously Fabregas would be an exception, they've got pace. So there's your first problem. Your other one is if we take them back a little bit. We've spoken about the distance between the defensive midfielders and the back three. So, as we talk about Chelsea, and we say, right, OK, when the wide players in the back three have to go out and give the coverage to the two wing-backs, as they have to, has to go out here, has to go out here. We talk about the isolation then. We talk about Mustafi in this situation like we did with David Luiz. The gap is too great between your two defensive midfielders and your main centre-back. So their recovery run to get back in there is near enough impossible. It's too far. And that's where I think Arsenal like to play free-flowing football. Arsenal brilliant on the ball. The difference between these two teams is what they do without the ball. And for me, that's the big difference between the two teams. Not the scoring, both teams will always score, it's how they are without the ball. Chelsea obviously work on it so much under Conte, they've been drilled with it, they know exactly what's expected of them, whereas Arsenal seems to be a system that they're still getting used to and they do get caught out quite a bit.